Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Thursday, November 19th, 2009. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. It's 4:30 p.m. in London. In Mexico City, it's 10:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Our instant mail address from overseas on AOL is CATEX-TV. On this day in history, in 1863, only 5 months after the Battle of Gettysburg, Abraham Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address, dedicating a national cemetery at the small Pennsylvania farming town. We'll have more on that later. The President of the United States today, Barack Obama, is due to arrive back home in Washington, D.C. after his 8-day four-nation Asian trip. And I'm sure we'll have some more on that tomorrow. Now to our main news. In the U.S., the Federal Aviation Administration is reporting that the computer problem that caused widespread delays this morning throughout the American air traffic system has now been stabilized. The FAA said that the problem was centered at Atlanta's Hartsfield International Airport, which is the busiest airport in the world, ended up with severe disruptions to the two home carriers there, Delta Airlines and AirTran, ended up backing up the traffic throughout the eastern part of the U.S. and certainly in the southeastern part. No indication yet as to what caused the glitch. Meanwhile, in Japan, this morning, smoke was seen rising from this nuclear power plant. This is the world's largest nuclear plant and was hit by an earthquake 2 years ago. It had not yet been started back up again. The operator of the plant said that no radiation leak had occurred. It did cause some problems. The fire extinguishers in the local fire department on site at the plant immediately put it out. The plant is located about 120 miles north of Tokyo. Meanwhile, in the United States, the number of people filing initial claims for unemployment benefits remained flat at a seasonally adjusted 505,000. Economists have been hoping that the claims would drop to 500,000, but it did not. The stock market's down about 151 points now. Meanwhile, in Amsterdam, the Dutch government indicated that it still needs to inject an additional 3 billion euros into the new ABN AMRO bank in order to cover the cost of the bank's integration with Fortis Bank Netherlands and to bolster its capital level. Dutch finance minister said this morning. These funds would be in addition to the 1.4 billion euros that the government is transferring already into the bank's shareholder capital. The finance minister said in a letter to the Dutch parliament that he expects that this will be the final capital injection for the combined nationalized entity, which will result from ABN AMRO and Fortis Bank. The Dutch finance minister said he hopes that the entity, to be called ABN AMRO, will be privatized in the coming years, although he didn't provide a time frame. The European Commission still has to sign off on the deal. There's an interesting story. This is another pirate story. The captain of a Virgin Islands-owned chemical tanker that seemingly was staffed by North Korean crew members. We haven't figured this out yet. But this ship was hijacked the other day, 2 days ago, Tuesday, at a spot you see on this map. Approximately 290 kilometers northwest of the Seychelles Islands. The ship was hijacked, and the captain, apparently, according to the pirates, has now died as a result of gunshot wounds. The name of the ship was the MV Teresa VIII. It had 28 North Korean crew members, including the captain on board the ship. According to the pirates, quote, the captain of the chemical tanker died last night from gunshot wounds he received during the attack. The European Union naval force in the area confirmed on Tuesday that the pirates had indeed seized the 22,000 deadweight ton tanker. It operates out of Singapore. It had been sailing to Mombasa in Kenya. We'll now go to a word from our sponsors and come back with the rest of the news.
Every day, the world wakes up and goes to work, pursuing the unique opportunities that lead the global economy forward. The complexity and close connectivity of today's global marketplace is a true modern miracle that can create unparalleled success. But it takes confidence, passion, innovation, and understanding.
Enabling opportunity.
Protecting capital.
Engineering innovation. Investing in your future.
Ensuring continuity.
Finding the right balance.
It takes
Lloyd's insurer Chaucer has reported premium rate increases of a little over 6% so far this year. It's got gross written premiums of $650 million, or 650 million pounds, about 1.09 billion US. That's up a healthy 23% from last year. During the third quarter, Chaucer indicated it had released net reserves of over 11 million pounds from its syndicates, up from 6 million pounds in the same time last year. On the investment side, Chaucer has generated a return of about 46 million pounds, 3.6% for the first 9 months of the year. They've indicated that they're going to boost Syndicate 1084's underwriting capacity for 2010 by 11.5%, up to 707 million pounds. That's going to be a pretty healthy contributor. Flagstone made some news today. They have participated now in a cat bond, a $120 million 3-year cat bond, with Goldman Sachs and Aon Benfield acting as joint underwriters. RMS is modeling the bond based on RMS's risk-linked version 9.0. The vehicle that they're using is registered in the Cayman Islands and it's called Montana Re Limited. The cat bond covers U.S. hurricane and earthquake risk. It's rated BB- and B- by Standard & Poor's. There are 2 tranches. An industry loss trigger is used. Covered losses are linked to industry losses as calculated by PCS. Montana Re will cover losses resulting from hurricanes in Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, D.C., Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Mississippi, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, and West Virginia. For earthquakes, it will cover losses in the 48 contiguous states and the District of Columbia. Also in Bermuda, Mike McGavick's company, XL, continuing on the march. They're making some news. They've indicated they've won approval from regulators in China to establish a property and casualty subsidiary there. In line with the China Insurance Regulatory Commission's license approval process, XL now has a year to prepare to establish its business in China. After this period, and upon receipt of all the regulatory approvals, XL plans to establish an insurance subsidiary dedicated to serving both local international corporations in China as well as its global program clients who have operations in China. Mr. McGavick said China's importance to any global company is obvious, and we could not be more proud to have received this critical approval. Meanwhile, again, more Bermuda news just down the street. CV Star subsidiary Star Aviation is going to write aviation risk for Ironshore through a deal signed yesterday between Star and Ironshore Specialty. The business will be written globally and will cover airlines, aviation manufacturers, airports, refuelers, fixed base operators, corporate aircraft, and general aviation risks. And general aviation risks should be underlined 3 times in red that's been squeezed in there. Gerald Frick, who recently retired from Marsh, has been appointed by Ironshore. He's going to run the operation. Ironshore said it would begin underwriting aviation business immediately. Meanwhile, from Taiwan, the Republic of China, the Taipei government has turned down an application by a consortium led by China Strategic Holdings Limited to buy AIG's Taiwanese life unit because of the lack of some documents. Although the Hong Kong-based consortium indicated this morning it's going to resubmit everything. This is AIG's biggest sale since it started raising cash to repay the taxpayers. China Strategic Holdings and Primus Financial Holdings Limited agreed back in October to pay $2.15 billion US for Nanshan Life.